Hi, I'm Brian from headfi.org, and this is the Sennheiser GSX 1200 Pro. The GSX 1000 and 1200 Pro are Sennheiser's first standalone virtual surround sound DAC amp combos, and they're designed primarily for PC gamers. The GSX 1000 is the bread and butter of the GSX line, containing most of the features gamers like myself look for, while the GSX 1200 Pro is designed with esports tournament gamers in mind. I've spent all my time with the GSX 1200 Pro, but almost everything I'm going to talk about applies to the GSX 1000 as well. Sennheiser is no stranger to the gaming market, having developed a number of gaming headsets like the Game 1 and PC 350, but when it comes to virtual surround sound, their options were limited to a few USB headsets. With the introduction of the GSX 1200 Pro, Sennheiser has expanded their gaming know-how to reach a broader audience. It's no longer limited to a single headset, but can now be used with a wide variety of headphones. Like the GSX 1000, the GSX 1200 Pro has one 3.5mm output for headphones, another 3.5mm output for active monitors, a mic input, and micro USB for data and power. The GSX 1000 has a volume wheel that can be used to adjust the balance between game and chat audio, allowing you to change the mix on the fly. Since the GSX 1200 Pro is focused on those taking part in competitions, it adds two chat-link ports in the rear, which enable networking multiple GSX 1200 Pros together for lag-free tournament play. The GSX 1000's volume mixer is replaced with two wheels that control incoming and outgoing chat volume. If you don't plan to network multiple GSX 1200 Pros together, you're probably better off with the GSX 1000. There's a touch-sensitive panel on the top that's surrounded by a large aluminum volume wheel. The wheel is one of my favorite elements of the GSX 1200 Pro as it has a solid feel and fluid movement. Beyond the wheel, there are four configurable preset buttons, one in each corner as you can see here. Overall, the design is relatively simple, but it's well designed. Setup is easy. Connect the GSX 1200 Pro to your PC with the included micro USB cable, and select the GSX 1200 Pro as the audio device. That's it. No additional drivers are required. Plug in a headphone or headset, and you're set to go. Of course, the in-game experience is what's most important to the player, and that's where the GSX 1200 Pro shines. The new Sennheiser binaural rendering engine takes a stereo or multi-channel signal and processes it into simulated binaural audio. This is the first device to take advantage of Sennheiser's new engine, and it quickly became my favorite surround sound processor for PC gaming. If you've never experienced virtual surround sound before, it simulates a surround sound speaker setup through a pair of headphones. The GSX 1200 Pro creates a virtual 7.1 speaker setup within your headphones, and it does so exceptionally well in my opinion. To show you exactly what I mean, here are some of my clips from the Elder Scrolls V Skyrim and Overwatch gaming sessions that highlight the differences between having the binaural rendering engine on and off. Make sure to listen with headphones because you won't get the proper effect with speakers.
Are you ready to help me now? We should not delay. We should check these rooms for supplies before heading further into the temple.
Never should have come here.
Are you ready to help me now? We should not delay. We should check these rooms for supplies before heading further into the temple.
Simply switching between the GSX 1200 Pro's 2.0 and 7.1 setting was enough to convince me that I needed it in my setup, but it has other settings that I love as well. There's an option to toggle and adjust side tone, which for me is a requirement when using closed headphones. If you're not familiar with the term side tone, you may have heard it referred to as mic monitoring. It allows you to monitor your microphone in real time. Now that may not seem that important, but to someone like me who cannot stand the occlusion effect of a closed headphone, it makes a world of difference. The occlusion effect is what you experience when you stick your fingers in your ears and talk. If I'm playing with an isolating headphone, the GSX 1200 Pro's side tone setting is a requirement. You can adjust reverb if you want a more immersive experience, and you can boost the front or rear surround cues if that works better for you. There are also a few preset EQs built into the GSX 1200 Pro. No EQ, music, story, and esports. Now I've been playing without EQ most of the time, but on occasion I'll switch into story depending on the game. The Sennheiser GSX 1200 Pro is designed with gamers in mind, but Sennheiser also recommends it for use with movies and music. Now I've done some brief music listening with the GSX 1200 Pro, and I think it's a decent DAC amp if you don't already have a dedicated PC music setup, but it's most likely not going to end up replacing dedicated gear or your favorite DAC amp combo. My time watching movies has been short, but if you're using the Netflix app to get a surround sound signal into the GSX 1200 Pro, it does an excellent job creating a simulated speaker setup. It's not the same as watching a movie in a home theater with a dedicated surround system, but if you're stuck in a hotel room or an office somewhere, it'll draw you into the film. The GSX 1200 Pro's internal amplifier is suitable for high and medium sensitivity headphones, but anything moderately demanding will likely end up running into another amplifier. And that brings me to one of the downsides of the GSX 1200 Pro. Since the line out bypasses the rendering engine and only outputs stereo, you're stuck using the headphone out if you want to connect an external amplifier. Now, I'd love to see Sennheiser eventually add the option to use their binaural rendering engine on the line out, but for now though, I'll stick to connecting the GSX 1200 Pro to a Stax rig via the headphone jack. If you're a PC gamer, the Sennheiser GSX 1200 Pro should be on the list of products to try. It's compact, easy to set up, intuitive to use, and most importantly, it makes the overall gaming experience more enjoyable. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next HeadFi Gaming episode and on the forums at headfi.org.